Alright, Grixis Delver. I believe we're 8-2 with this in the last couple of leagues that we've played. This deck's felt very reasonable. This is one of the decks where if it continues testing well, I could see myself considering this deck for SCGCon. People keep asking me what deck I'm gonna... What deck I'm gonna play. I have no idea. I have a bunch of decks that I would like to consider playing, but the event is very far away. I'm gonna keep it because I have a Bolt and a Thought Scour. You did miss a burst of democracy, Moradith. What? This deck's got Delver secrets in it, Burgle. I could totally be a unicorn with this deck. So against turn 1 Flooded Strain, I think I'm actually going to get Watery Grave here. Prioritize that. Because Lightning Bolt's less important against Hallowed Fountain decks on average. Look at that. Just runners like a professional here. You're defenseless. Poor Justin. You'll survive, I promise. So here's the hot secret. Serum Visions is a garbage magic card that the only decks that are interested in playing it that are truly degenerate combo decks that really need to do the same thing every single game. If your deck isn't a truly degenerate combo deck, stop registering Serum Visions in Modern. The card is really, really bad. It is not worth the mana that you put into it. The tiny, small probability of a chance that you might help flip your Delver pales in comparison to the fact that, like, you've registered this card that's terrible. My opponent commented in chat that they pulled this deck list off of my YouTube channel, so I assume we're playing against Jeskai Thing Ascension here. Which means I would like to take a peek at what they have going on. Yes, most are correctly running ops instead of Serum Visions. This matchup's probably pretty bad for us, I'd imagine, Burgle, right? Like, our deck has some pressure, but not a ton, and a lot of our pressure dies to things like Lightning Helix. So the opponent's deck is a Jeskai Thing in the Ice Pyromancer's Ascension deck, like many deck lists. If you're interested in seeing it played out, you can find it on both my YouTube channel and my website. Does that deck qualify as a pile of degenerate magic cards? If yes, then probably. Game 1, match 1. I think I'm going to take Helix here. So that way next turn I can snap Collective Brutality. To answer the question about Serum Visions and Breach Moon in Modern, I would recommend registering a different deck rather than registering Serum Visions. Too harsh? Maybe too harsh. If you're thinking about registering a Blood Moon combo deck in Modern, you just need to accept the fact that they've banned Splinter Twin and that archetype isn't playable anymore. Just know in your heart of hearts, it's because Wizards doesn't love you, and you can't play the type of archetype you want to play anymore. They have so many Doomblades, chat. Why do they have so many Doomblades? I think putting Blood Moon in the sideboard of Grishelbrand's pretty silly. I think Leyline of Sanctity has more applications. No, I want to play the fetch because I want a second red source here, so that way I can play Young Pyromancer and Lightning Bolt them in the same turn to make a token. Because I want a guaranteed token off this Pyromancer before it, like, eats a Lightning Bolt and dies. Like, we're not close to burning the opponent out, and we can get value out of having this in play. It's a pretty good draw. So, I think I just Snap Brutality. Like, if it was correct to Snap Brutality last turn before playing Pyromancer, it's probably right to Snap Brutality this turn before playing Pyromancer. Again, just, like, trying to clear the way for my threat to stick and, like, run away with the game eventually. Hey, Murray, thank you for the 4-month resubscription there. I appreciate that. Thanks for the third of a year and welcome back. Kinda. It's like Todd Stevens not playing green-white Value Town. If you both love a deck and genuinely think it's good in Modern, you're going to register it some amount of the time. Not every time. Sometimes you want to surprise people. But if you really think a deck is good, you're going to register it every few tournaments at the very least. Because if you think it's really actually good and you like it, it's good enough to play in Modern. Yeah, Todd won't admit it's bad. That is very correct. No, you're not wrong with Grixis Shadow. Grixis Shadow is a proactive, powerful deck. Decks that are proactive tend to be very reasonable in Modern. Path to Exile. How about if I bolt you, and then we let that resolve? Definitely need to hold on to this Fatal Push in case they draw a thing in the ice. That's their easiest way to win the game from here. Well, I suppose Pyromancer Ascension is pretty good too. So, Serum Visions is better at finding early land drops on turn 1, but Op's actually better at finding your second land if you keep a 1-lander and don't play it till turn 2. That's a Bedlam Reveler. Well, now we are probably dead. Fatal Push does not kill that one. That's really unfortunate. Which degenerate deck would you recommend? I always recommend the same thing. Proxy a bunch of decks and then find the one you enjoy the most and then buy that one. Maybe I should have attacked with both of our things there and traded like Snapcaster plus a bolt for this Bedlam Reveler. That's probably our best chance to win. Yeah, I'm probably pretty dead to rights here at this point. This game's really kind of highlighting the power of Faithless Looting in my opponent's deck. Like, we've drawn extra lands, just like had to play them out, and my opponent's drawn extra lands, just like been able to loot through them. $20. I did some very rigorous math and came to the conclusion that putting 1/3 instants and sorceries in my deck lets me flip my Delver 1/3 of the time. It's this wild new math, so maybe it's not correct, but I'm pretty confident in the results that I've garnered from it. There's some wild calculations. Truly innovated. The opponent's playing Jeskai Thing Ascension. You can find that deck list along with lots of other wonderful deck lists on my website. I think if your Delver flips at a minimum 1/3 of the time, it's reasonable enough card to play. Everybody is so used to their Delvers flipping half or more of the time in Legacy that they don't understand that it flipping less than that still makes it a reasonable card. Faithless Looting is only good in my opponent's deck because my opponent's deck wants cards in their discard pile. Faithless Looting is not a free card that you can just add into every deck and get insane value out of it just because it exists. People like to call Faithless Looting this bread brainstorm, and it just really couldn't be further from the truth. Faithless Looting excels in decks that are able to leverage their graveyard as a resource to make up from the card disadvantage that Faithless Looting provides, but Faithless Looting is card disadvantage. It is a card that puts you behind a card when you play it. Decks like Blue-Red Delver aren't interested in playing that type of effect. This is a really aggressive attack. If I just like had a bunch of bolts, they'd die here. Yeah, Brainstorm is Brainstorm. Everything else is not. Agreed. So I'm going to discard plus Strain here, and then maybe if we rip a Lightning Bolt next turn, we could kill them. We could also just, like, die next turn. Alright, I'm gonna take your Bolt, because that helps kill me. It's a reasonable choice to play Inquisition deck. Why should I play Inquisition? Why do you think it could be a reasonable choice? Have a discussion. Make an argument. Instead of me shooting down your idea to you and telling you your idea is bad, tell me why your idea is good. Maybe it is. Fight you? I mean, alright, if you really want me to. In this sideboard, I don't know, maybe, like, you already have Counter Squall in this deck, so you're probably not interested in Ionize. I don't know why they tapped the red source. They definitely should have left the red source up. Alright. Well, I feel like I gave myself the best possible chance to win there. Unfortunately, it was not enough. So again, it's not just deck building 2 is, I don't just play a 50, you know, an 80 card deck either. What card that's already in my deck should we cut to replace with that card, and why is that card the appropriate cut? Articulate, engage, explain, learn, educate. We don't really have many cards for this matchup. I guess Counter Squall is probably fine. Yeah, Counter Squall is probably fine. Dismember's fine. Is Brutality good enough here? I guess it kind of burns them out. It kills... It doesn't kill any of their things. It's just like a really bad discard spell, right? Is Bolt better than Brutality? I guess Bolt Help feeds my Delve creatures, which is nice. It's more reach as well. I'm gonna leave the bolts in. No, Pyromancer's Ascension means they're just going to bury us very quickly. The opponent's deck generally plays 2 copies of Bedlam Reveler and no other targets for what's it called? The card you're talking about. So I think think Disdainful Stroke is too narrow. I think I'm in for a Delver here. Delver lets me go Scalding Tarn, Scalding Tarn on 1 pass, and then I can play Delver plus hold up Spell Snare on 2, which is great. Yeah, Spell Snare is very good. I agree with that. All their important cards cost 2. Because Brutality is just an expensive discard spell for the most part. I don't think that's good enough. No, it's Shadows over Scars over Return to Ravnica. Get the set name right. Jeez. Kids these days don't even know what the sets are called. Yeah, I'm sure in the matches you flood out, the Creeping Tar Pits feel really good. I'm not sure that I'm interested in playing too many tapped lands in my tempo deck though. Like the Wandering Fumarals come at a really high cost in the blue-red Delver deck, and this deck has a lot fewer lands in that deck, right? Like this deck's on like 19, 20 lands. I think if I wanted to play tapped lands in this deck, and I don't think I do, they would definitely need to be like lands 21 and 22. Grab a swamp here. I can't tell if I'm supposed to time you out for that or not, Gengar. I feel like I'm supposed to. I mean, you'll be happy when you draw a Tar Pit and like you're super flooded out. Like creature lands are great when you're flooded. Stop it. Like, Creeping Tar Pit would be great right now. This would be a wonderful time to have a Creeping Tar Pit in play. Is this deck smart and thin? This is what I would classify as a feel smart deck. It's a type of deck that gives you a lot of back and forth and interaction points with your opponent. Lets you make a lot of little decisions. Well, I mean, I like the off chance I don't have a Bath Exile. That could be very good. Yeah, we have Alpine Moon in the sideboard. We have Alpine Moon, Disdainful Stroke, and, the Brutality, what's it called? It's in my deck right now. I think you probably have a very reasonable Valakut matchup. You have, like, you check all the boxes you want to check against Valakut. You have some pressure, and you have just good disruption. Serum Visions is a really bad magic card. The upside you get from putting cards in your graveyard from Thought Scour is very high, and Opt gets you your cards sooner. Modern's a format that's about the here and the now. It's a tempo format that's about engaging ASAP. And Serum Visions helping you find the cards you're looking for next turn as opposed to this turn tends to make it far too slow. That's actually like a really good draw. The other thing that came up explicitly more than once in this deck regarding Serum Visions was that I kept having games where I'd cast Serum Visions, draw Thought Scour, and then the top card of my deck would be one I'd want to keep, so then I like couldn't cast my Thought Scour that turn. Just incredibly awkward. Show me potato salad. Tripping. Yeah, but you're playing Thought Scour in this deck because you want the value for your graveyard. You need to fuel your delve cards. You need to get cards in your bin. Also, one of the times we were doing that and we had it come up, we were actually playing against Bridgevine, so we really couldn't Thought Scour our opponent. It would have been incredibly bad. The Revolt Zoo deck wasn't a full cut the line, it was close. And I'm not going to have a ton of time by the time this league is done, and Revolt Zoo will be a quick deck to bang out. This is still the first match with this deck, so this league's probably going to be another hour and a half. Thoughts on why Grixis Delver is better than Jeskai Delver? 1, I don't know for a fact that Grixis Delver is better than Jeskai Delver. I haven't played a Jeskai Delver deck list. 2, theoretically, and from a Theorycraft perspective, I think this deck stands to be better than Jeskai Delver because Delve creatures are very, very good. And Kolaghan's Command and Collective Brutality are also great Magic cards. Those are the big upgrades you get as opposed to splashing white into a blue-red shell as opposed to splashing in black. Like this. This is a great example here. Just like, gonna get to like play this fish on turn 2 and it's gonna be great. Fetch Island, cast Dark Ritual, untap, fetch Swamp, cast Gurmag Angler. Or I'm playing Engineer Explosives for 2. Do I prioritize playing Explosives for 2 right away? Or do I put the fish into play? Can I take a turn off here to put the fish into play? I could probably take a turn off and put the fish in, right? Burgle, what do you think? Are you still here? I think I can fish this turn. Because, like, if they path the fish, I get to EE even sooner. Yeah, I'm gonna go fish in. It's worth noting I only have one more basic in my deck. Maybe I should have fetch shocked here just so I have more basics against the path deck. Yeah, I think the fish, I agree with that. I think the fish is playing to win. They might have negate in against me post board, but like the engineered explosive is like pretty likely to resolve, right? Yeah, especially with like how game 2 went down. They are at 12. The fact that they're at 12 is why we left Boltzmann over Brutality. Bye, friend. It is sad that my fish went out to sea. The fishy went to sea to see what he could see, but all that he could see was the color of the deep blue sea. That's for everybody that needed sings a children's song. Checked off their bingo board. I got your back, Jack. Nah, playing around a card my opponent is pretty unlikely to have access to at the sake of costing myself a turn and resource efficiency is really bad. So the reason to wait to blow this up till the end of my opponent's turn is it basically prevents them from playing out another 2-drop this turn. Because if they play out another 2-drop, it's just going to play right into... it's just going to play right into my thing. It's possible I should shock this in, so that way if they Doomblade this, I can Kolaghan's command it back this turn. But at the same time, my health total is kind of a valuable resource in this matchup, so I think I'd like to be a little conservative and not shock it in. No, I don't really. Crisis averted. I found another Panera. God bless, Beetle. God bless. I don't think I want to opt at end of turn here, because if the Delver survived, I wanted to be able to opt away the top card of my deck in the event that it was one I didn't want to draw. It's a pretty good draw, speaking of. What are the odds they boarded in Anger against me, Burgle? Non-zero? They might have boarded in Anger. Baja mac and cheese. It's great. He's dead, Jim. The bolt on the Pyromancer here implies that they don't have anger, so that's good for us. This is match 1, game 3. They put salsa, which has fresh tomatoes and onions and some seasoning on it, and then and cilantro and avocado is what makes it Baja. They're down to 2 cards here. Depending on how many cantrips they have, we could be okay. If they have like another Helix here, though, we're probably in trouble because it's going to trigger this. Yeah, and then kill our dude. Basically, if you go to Panera, you can't go wrong with avocado. It's basically great. Noodles and Company is dead to me. They got rid of their truffle mac again. Dead. Dead to me, chat. Dead to me. No, this is an Innistrad Delver, actually. It's not from Unlimited. If you're allergic to avocado, blame your parents. Be very sad. I have no idea. They must just be like holding lands, right? Or more Pyromancer Ascensions, I guess. Sure. Obviously, their hand is the Stone Cold Nuts, and I am dead. This is again here, if you just like look at the exchange of resources, our opponents played 4 lands and 23 cards, and we've played 7 lands and 22 cards. So that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Every card they cast is an overdrive now. Check out our options here. Alright, we just need a brick or 2 out of them here. If they brick once or twice, we could probably run away with this game. Like, they've drawn a lot of gas, so... Yeah, if they have, like, a Manamorphose, we're just gonna, like, die in a fire. Alright, your move. Survey says, play a land. Nope, dead. People were asking earlier what's the upside to black versus a white splash, and this is definitely one of the downsides to not having white cards in our deck. Like, have a very hard time interacting with a card like Pyromancer's Ascension. Yeah, Serum Visions is a dumpster fire of a card, not just like passable. Meso Crocatal, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm really hoping, the one thing I'm hoping Assassin's Trophy does more than anything else is make people realize that Dark Confidant is terrible and that Tireless Tracker is good. I think Assassin's Trophy will finally push people into really testing the black-green archetype again, and I bet a lot of people will come to similar conclusions that I have already. Tracker is very, very good, and Dark Confidant is very, very medium. Alright. Not saying there's a good chance, but it exists. Gosh, if they would have drawn a land last turn, we'd have put him in the ground. No, we were pretty medium so far today. We started the day on 2 Celestial Colonnade decks, so we went 2 and 3 with those. This is the first game of the third game of the first match with this deck. And it looks like we're down. We're gonna be down. We're gonna lose this one. We're definitely behind here. If their hand is at all average, we're dead. The problem with Dark Confidant is that even in the matches where he's supposed to be good, he just gets Doombladed and does nothing a lot of the time. Whereas Tireless Tracker has a higher floor because it's more passable against aggressive decks because it doesn't kill you. And against the control decks where it's really good, it can always draw a card if you sequence correctly. We were never friends with Serum Visions. We were like co-workers with Serum Visions. We like got along at company functions, but like if we saw each other at the supermarket, we wouldn't make eye contact. Serum Visions understood what its job was, and we understood what our job was, and we walked past each other quietly each day at the office. But now Serum Visions has been replaced by Opt, and Opt and I have quickly become good friends because it's a playable card. I think they're probably having a connection issue. They like should be pretty solid to win this game. They like haven't drawn a card yet for the turn. I really want them to like start casting cards so I can concede, but like there's a chance they have a bunch of bricks, right? My opponent is disconnected. Catch you later, Shadows. Have a good one. I'll be able to catch all the replays on YouTube later, as always. Yeah, but there's a lot of lands in their deck still, Burgle. They've not drawn many. Hop Flabop with the 2-month resub. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate that. I think Thing in the Ice decks are decks that could potentially want 1 to 2 mission briefing. Maybe. After some testing. I would spend time testing it. Would Serum Visions be playable as an instant? It would be less bad as an instant. It might still be worse than Opt, honestly. I mean, like, the opponent's, like, stolen a bunch of our time here. Like, we're up 9 minutes on clock. It's like, up 9 minutes on clock. The MTGO story. The Unnamed, thank you very much for the brand new Tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome. No, if Preordain were legal, it would likely be better. Preordain is a card that gets you the cards you're looking for now, which is why Opt is better. My favorite death deck is the Mordrin aggro deck. The Reanimator deck we played last night wasn't very good. I think my favorite deck overall, though, is the Elf mid-range deck that we played for a little bit last night with Celestial Prime. No, I think they're just actually having connection issues. They're down to 2.5 minutes. Is the Quick Quest deck for Mordrin. Yeah, the Mordrin aggro deck is a Quick Quest deck. Alright, down to 2 minutes. If they get back at this point even, there's a non-zero chance that we could just time them out if they have too many cantrips and not enough burn spells. They get watch them just like show up with like 15 seconds on the clock and they're just like bolt you triggers. Just like, yep. Yep. That card is called Preordain, and it is banned in Modern, Funny Bunny. That card exists. It's called Preordain, and it is banned in Modern. The opponent, Moto said my opponent disconnected and then rejoined the game. The 10-minute wait is the worst. I really feel like for leagues, the disconnect timer should be much shorter than 10 minutes. Like, for competitive tournaments or whatever, if you want to give people more time to get back, fine. But I think the good cantrip should stay banned in Modern. In fact, I think they should ban Faithless Looting and Ancient Stirring for the same reason they have Ponder and Preordained banned. I think a format full of... No, I don't think so, Burgle. So the long connection timer is supposed to be there to account for technical issues, and long waits like this are a negative user experience for the person having to wait, especially when people salt off. The classic 420 donation. What would it take for Monastery Mentor to replace Young Pyromancer in Mardu Pyro? It wouldn't. It's just like not a similar effect. They're just like completely different things. There's theoretically another league after this one. If we finish this league by 2:15, I will play Revolt Zoo. I'm gonna Spell Snare this and auto pass. You have 12 seconds, friend. Go. Bye, friend. Get some... You need more fiber in your internet, chat. You need more fiber in your internet. No, this is match 1. Hopefully the rest of them will take will go faster. This was a 40-minute match where my opponent used 25 minutes off their clock, and I used like 10 off of mine. 15, 10, 12, whatever. Them's the beats. Yeah, the deck building requirements on a card like Ancient Stirrings are laughable because it goes into decks that like already meet all those requirements anyways. I would love for the clock to be lower on Magic Online. As someone who's frequently 5 to 10 minutes up on all of his opponents while streaming, while reading chat, while doing 6 other things while playing, I would love if they punish people who play slowly. The clock on Magic Online is so long, and part of the reason why people play so slowly is because they're doing other things while they're doing this. Most of the time that people are being slow on Magic Online is very likely because they're not focused on what they're doing. Excellent. And usually another game on the other one. Yep. And I don't think you're alone in that. I don't think you're alone in that. You're not putting all of your focus on the game. So, I'm probably going to ditch a land to this Brutality to take a peek in their hand. Yeah, definitely ditching a land. I don't think I'm ditching a land to drain them, though. That seems unnecessary. Ditch a Steam Vents here. Hopefully we get a Coco or something here. Stone Cold nothing. That's unfortunate. Chuck this in. Maybe I should have drained there. The Drain Elf is pretty scary. So, the reason why people sit around and do nothing for so long is because they have so much of a clock. People would be more conscious of what they're doing and less distracted while playing if they knew that there was actually a chance to get punished for doing it, right? Like, what's the incentive to actually play faster if there's no drawback for playing slowly, right? Like, if I know my average time I spend 15 minutes on my clock per game, I get to dick around for 10 minutes every match doing other non-Magic Online things. This is great for us because it means this Kolaghan's command is going to take this this Shaman of the Pack out of their hand. Also good. Also good. So we're ahead right now, but like my opponent's definitely just like a collected company or a good lead the Stampede away from like pulling back into this game. I want to bolt one of these things? Probably not. I guess if I bolt the 2/2, I get to... If I bolt the 2/2, I get to start attacking with my elementals, which is appealing. But with the fish, I can pressure them with that. Yeah, I like holding the bolt for real threat, I think. Because, like, they're going to get a bunch of draws here, right? Like, they're going to cycle these 2 Horizon Canopies. So, like, their chances of hitting a real threat are much higher. Ding. Spell Snare is kind of mediocre in this. Sure, but like your argument there, Imp Demon, is like saying we shouldn't have a round clock in Magic tournaments. Because round clocks in Magic tournaments are better for experienced players too. So should we get rid of the round clocks there as well? Yep, my article this week on CoolStuffInc.com talked about mission briefing. It's a good draw. I think I just smash here, right? You think I just full smash and then play Delver? Yes, you can have different clocks in the beginner queues. That's exactly correct. You don't have to throw them in. You don't have to have the same clock in every place. Just like you can have 40-minute clocks in certain queues right now. Like, why don't we have 40-minute clocks when we play leagues? Seems unfair to new players that we have 25-minute clocks if people are timing out on those. Where do you stop, right? Like, you could make an argument to make things longer or shorter that way. I think in my vast amounts of experience playing lots of Magic Online, most people barely use 20 minutes. And a lot of the people that do use 20 minutes or more is because they're taking really long amounts of times that are likely mean... They're taking long amounts of times during points in the game where there aren't decision points, which means they're playing while distracted. Yes, people will use the time you give them. Alright, so this is an all Doomblades on deck matchups. What happens when someone rings your doorbell? You concede your match and go do your real life thing instead of making someone else wait for you to take care of your stuff. It's not my fault that your doorbell rang. Concede your match and go take care of your real life thing. That's what you do. You be an adult and you take care of your stuff. Is it nuts to cut Opt here? Like, I just kind of don't have time to be cantripping, right? The sense of entitlement is so absurd. Just like, I'm entitled to waste everybody's time however I want. But my event tickets. And you know what? If there's a chance that, like, you could get interrupted, then play a free queue or play something else. Like, just hang out. Don't take your time when you're going to be playing and use it as dedicated time. You know what? There were times I played Magic Online where, like, I'd literally change a diaper mid-match of Magic, and I'd come back and still be up 4 minutes on clock on someone. Like, that's absurd. I think I just play Delver on one here, right? And we'll just, like, save the lightning bolts for their more important elves. I'm probably gonna need to fetch shock twice here, though, which is a little scary. So I'm gonna put a stop on my upkeep, because if there's a card that I don't want on top of my deck, I might opt past it here. Do I want a Steam Vent? I kinda don't, right? Or a Watery Grave? I kinda don't. Dr. Peasy sounds great. So we'll fetch Blood Crypt here and bolt this Orc Druid. This is that you can tell that the person I just banned is a Magic player because they took my thousands of matches worth of experience, like 3-4 digits worth of hours, and they're just like, nah, none of that matters. It's all anecdotal. None of your experience is relevant. Herp-a-derp, I'm a Magic player. Nobody else can be an authority on anything. And that's one of the big things that's like really different between like Magic versus like I spent a lot of time working in academia, right? And like people that like put in their time there and like have experience on things, people don't just like randomly crap on them there. That's not like a thing that happens. Yeah, you can reveal on Delver and then opt away the card. It's okay for you to disagree with me, but to be like, none of your experience matters, it's all irrelevant, it's all anecdotal, just like... So, yeah, so this is kind of an awkward point here. I could... Oh, actually, I can't play the Tasigur because of the way I tapped. I was just, like, ranting and not paying attention. So I guess we are playing this out for one. I was gonna say I could play the Tasigur, but then I delve away my Bolt. I'm not sure if that's worth it. But I actually can't play the Tasigur because of the way I tapped. Would you agree that Paper Magic clock should be lowered and Magic Online should stay the same? No, if anything, I think the inverse is true. I think the Paper Magic clock needs to stay where it is because the physical mechanic... And here's the other wild thing. This is something you really need to consider to realize that Magic Online's clock should be lower. Did you know you get 50 minutes in a tournament match of Magic where you are required to shuffle and do all these other physical mechanical things that Magic Online does for you automatically that takes 0 time on Magic Online? Like, that's... Hey, Twerk, thanks for continuing your sub gift there. I appreciate that. Yeah, and you sideboard without time? Like, the fact that the Magic Online clock is the same when this program automates... Well, the 3 minutes on Magic Online for the sideboarding doesn't even come out of the round timer. The 3 minutes you take to sideboard on Magic Online, that's separate. The sideboarding's an extra clock on Magic Online. Yeah, so like, your sideboarding doesn't even count against your time on Moto. That's actually, I didn't even think about that offhand until someone brought up paper clocks. Like, that's the biggest argument in my mind why the clock's too long on this application. I don't think triggers and passing priority are that big of a difference, Draven. If you think they're that big of a difference, I'd recommend learning the hotkeys. The hotkeys are very, very useful for that. Like, did you see my opponent just, like, cast 2 spells? I'm not auto-passing here. I'm clicking OK. You don't have to announce triggers. Yeah, all this stuff that saves you time. Sure, like, long, clunky combo decks is different. That's different. Playing something like an infinite combo, sure, that's different. I'm talking about just, like, actually playing games, though. Only loops, yeah. And writing stuff down, yep. All of those things take a lot of time and paper. But again, and this is the thing that a lot of people miss, a lot of the time that you're sitting there waiting for people to make plays on Magic Online, there aren't actually decisions to make a lot of the time too. They're just like sitting there in their upkeep randomly, and then they go and they draw their card, or like it's turn 2 and they're just like not hitting okay. All right, so I guess I'm just playing Dr. Peasy here and like hoping to go wide that way. They have this Nykthos, which is pretty scary. We're probably pretty dead here. So again, it just comes with experience, tapped land. So like you're saying this would be slow for you, but that's because you're not familiar with it is the reason it would be slow to you. It's just like Saffron Olive started playing Magic and Paper for the first time, and he commented that shuffling was really slow and awkward for him because he hadn't shuffled physical cards in a long time. So like shuffling physical cards probably comes naturally to a lot of you that play with physical cards all the time, but that's just because you've practiced it. A lot of people confuse something being easy with something that they're familiar with. Just because you're familiar with something and can do it well doesn't mean that it's inherently easy. And a lot of us that do something a lot, we forget that a lot of the time. I think that hand's fine. At a Comp REL tournament, I see people talking about leaving hands up. When I'm playing a Comp REL tournament against someone who's cast a Thoughtseize, generally speaking, I go, I'm going to leave these up until you write them down. You can take your turn, and then you can tell me when to pick them up, and I'll pick them up in a minute when you're done. So that way they don't have to, like, pause the game to, like, do their thing, basically. So, yeah, we're definitely on, like, the Doomblade everything plan here, and Snapcaster Mage in the middle will be useful for that. Fetch land is nice because it lets this Fatal Push kill their 3-drop next turn. I don't leave my cards up indefinitely, but I definitely am willing to shortcut leaving them up for, like, 2 minutes while they write them down and do only that, so we can, like, progress the game state and not go to time. I think you can find my thoughts on Assassin's Trophy in my article on Cool Stuff Inc. from last week. bit.ly/Google articles. You find control difficult. And again, that just comes with practice. Like, I can't tell you, go watch some of my blue-white control videos. I'm up and clocking them in almost every match. Just practice, practice, practice. Miking the players was different, but it felt kind of weird to me. I think the only reason it worked as well as it did was because Reed Duke is who he is and communicates very clearly, but I don't think you could put the average player on feature like that and then have that be successful. I had a foil modern deck one time, and then all of the prices on the cards spiked because MTG Finance is stupid, so I instead sold those cards and paid my mortgage for several months. It was a good exchange. It was actually blue-red tempo from years past. Thank you for helping me become a better Magic player. My favorite streamer by far. Mr. Polite, thank you for re-upping that Prime for the second month in a row. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Pyromancer is hopefully going to take this game and run away with it here. Yeah, it was great. I remember I bought like foil Scalding Tarns for like 50 or 60 bucks and like foil Snapcaster Mages for like 30 or 40. And then like I sold Snapcaster Mages for like 100 bucks a piece, and I traded foil Tarns for like non-foils and like 100 bucks. It's a good time. We made a lot of dollars. This was way back. They were cheap. They were very inexpensive. Cheap is always relative. Relative to today's prices, they were cheap. Yeah, I agree with that, Jojo. I think a lot of people like kind of like take their turns to like space out or like only worrying about what their opponents are doing, when in reality you should be constructing your game plan that's going to happen next turn while your opponent is playing. So that way when it comes to your turn, the only thing you have to reassess is the new card that you draw. Yeah, they're linked in the video descriptions. Pick your favorite Doomblade. The AOS deck list is really cool. You can export your deck list directly from the app Sanguines, and then it exports it to a web page on their a link on their homepage, and then anybody else that opens that link can one-click import it back into their own client. The fact that every one of these Doomblades is coming with an elemental is really huge here. It's going to allow us to kind of like overpower some of their card advantage, hopefully. If they pass the turn here, I might just terminate Heritage Druid. Just like force them to company if they have it now. How much better than Divination are you? A lot better than Divination. That is double Shaman of the Pack. That is, well, we are pretty dead. Yep. We need, like, engineered explosives here to clear out these 1-drops. I mean, and this is why Shaman of the Pack is such a great card, right? Like, it's a card that, like, takes these board stalls and just, like, cracks it wide open. Well, that's a good draw. That potentially keeps us in the game. I guess a land would have done the same here because we could have snapped Kolaghan's command. I have a Gurmag Angler in my bin. So do I want to bring big... I think I want to bring big fish back here, right? Rather than shock one of these. And this is why Thought Scour is so good in this deck, because, like, I basically drew a Gurmag Angler with that Thought Scour earlier on the back of this Kolaghan's command. Yeah, so one of the shamans is gone, so we need to avoid a third shaman here. How often do you have weeks where you just can't seem to win a game? Not too often. We have a good bit of flexibility. I kind of just want to leave these back, right? If they draw a Lord next turn, we're going to be in trouble. But if we can fade some action for a little bit here, we could be okay. Yep. Drain me, baby. I'm kind of surprised they didn't crack the canopy here to like try and hit a company or something to go bigger. All right, so do I just like start attacking with Gurmag here? I think I do. I have enough elementals. This is probably fine. If they want to elf pile this, that's okay with me. Need to try and get this game over before they're able to find another shaman. Yeah, we can. We're probably going to be in the range of like 3 mana Dismember this turn, unless they give us, if they like play a Lord to attack with everything. I'm probably gonna need to snap Bolt to like get another blocker into play, so I don't go too low. But if they don't give us a reason to play the Snapcaster Mage, I'm probably going to Dismember. Yep. Which member did you say? I missed it. You stuttered. Alright, they're at 11 because they took this hit from Gurmag Angler. So, like, if we can flip this Delver boy up, they are almost dead. We need one brick out of them. One brick. Show me potato salad. Come on. Come on. Puppy. They know about the Snapcaster Mage. Dr. Peasy is very good. Pyromancer is the card that's like consistently been impressive out of this deck every time we've played it. Like the Delve threats are like obviously good too. Like all the threats are reasonable, but like Pyromancer is a card that like doesn't see as much play. And it's definitely very, very good when you pair it with all these cantrips. I just want to make sure we block enough that if they hit a Lord, we don't die. Is there any reason to block with PZ over here? If they company into... No, they can't even company, right? Yeah, I was thinking they had 4 mana. They can't even company here? Alright, good enough. Opponent commented in chat on the K-Command play from earlier. They would have held the Land War Elves. They would have drained us out there, so they probably could have been a little bit more conservative. Thanks, D-Pice. Trying to be conservative with my card estimates. I think that's the best way to be for sure. It's hard to tell the new... It's hard to, like, predict the future, right? So, like, being conservative is definitely best until you've, like, had cards in your hand and play with them. They all out attacked there because they knew about the Snapcaster Mage in my hand from a duress earlier, so they knew they were dead when they saw the lightning bolt. Nah, Scholar, I wanted to kill them on the backswing. I mean, it's not even about having issues evaluating until they have in hand. It's like, sometimes, like, these unique combinations get together. Like, there's so many cards, right? He played the blue-white or Bant Spirits. I think both those matchups are good for the blue-red tempo deck. I think the blue-red tempo deck has a ton of instant speed interaction. Basically, if they ever get double hexproof out, you can never win the game. But you have so many cards that prevent them from ever doing that I think you're ahead as the blue-red deck. Staticaster and Grimlavamancer are both absurd against those decks. Opponent went to 5. Our 6 is pretty good here. This hand's actually a good example of a situation where Opt is better than Serum Visions. So I want to play Delver on 1 with this hand, but if I play Delver on 1 with the Serum Visions, I'm pretty unlikely to find a second land, whereas Opt, I'm more likely to find a second land next turn. Another Ross Codias? How do you pronounce your name? I feel like there's supposed to be some capital letters to separate words in there. At any rate, thank you for the brand new Prime support. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Definitely the Flayer deck. The Flayer deck's just like piles of spice. Upkeep Opt, also good with Delver. Correct, yeah. So like, if the Delver flips, I probably don't want to draw the card that's not a land on top of my deck, so I can opt past it. Another Roscoe Diaz. There we go. Look at that. It's hard to see it at a glance, chat, okay? Cut me some slack. What's Grixis Flayer? It is a Hollowed One-esque deck that plays Soul Flayer in it. Ah! Thank you, Diaz. I appreciate you doubling up there. Took my bolt. So again, I'm gonna put a stop on my turn here. So that way. We've been talking about Magic Online things here. This is actually a really big Magic Online thing you can do. You'll notice how these stops that I know I'm not going to often use, I toggle them off and on when I want to use them. It takes 2 clicks to toggle them off and on. So like, if you have a stop that you use infrequently, don't leave it on all the time and burn time off your clock having to click through it every turn. This might be greedy. If they have another discard spell, they could potentially poke through my removal here, but I really kind of want to stick Dr. Peasy here and like get value off these spells. Oh. Yeah, the modal cards are awesome. They're really fantastic design from Wizards of the Coast. I'm super excited to see them. Love to flip to a Thought Scour. And then I think I'm actually okay drawing Thought Scour here. That's fine with me. Terminate, sure. And then I think I'm actually going to opt here, because I really want to hit mana for this Kolaghan's command, because if you'll note, you might not be able to see it, I flipped over a Gurmag Angler there, so next turn I'll be able to K-command shock this, pick my fish back up. I think fetches are getting a reprint anytime soon, no idea. If I could predict the future, I would not be here playing Magic the Gathering for you all. I like how you say when you don't know something rather than coming up with BS or theory. I mean, like, sometimes there's relative theory to be had, but like, I'm always upfront when we're just theory crafting, right? They're gonna blood boot us, right? There's nothing. The smartest thing you can do is say when you don't know something. When I am sure of something, when I have experience doing something, I'm also upfront about that. Like, yeah, this is how this works, but there's a lot of things I just don't know. I don't think we'll ever see fetches printed in a standard legal set again, though. I'd be pretty surprised if that happened. Some talks, or like things Morrow has said, have kind of implied that they're going to shy away from that. I think they're gonna have a new non-rotating format at some point, it's been said, and I don't think they want fetches in the new non-rotating format. So if we do ever get a fetch land reprint, it probably will be a supplemental set that doesn't go into standard. Yes, fetches in standard make standard take forever too. Agree with that. So you're dead. I don't know what they're doing. They've got fetches and they've got a Kite Sail freebooter and discard spells. I'm gonna trim these spell snares, I think, and bring in Liliana the Last Hope and a Braid. I don't really know what their deck is doing, but it didn't look like they had too many 2-mana spells. No, I don't think it's 8-rack. 8-rack wouldn't have Kite Sail freebooter in it. 8-rack tends to try and generate virtual card advantage. You don't have Panera in the UK. Well, that's because their OG name is the St. Louis Bread Company. Bring in Fulminator Mage for basic swap. Yeah, Python, same physical size. So they fit into standard Magic sleeves just fine. None of that Yu-Gi-Oh nonsense. We don't have a lot of stuff going on in the US of A, but we do at the very least have cheap food options on lock. A good smattering of variety there. I actually eat fruit cups on stream pretty consistently, thank you very much. This is my least favorite thing about Modern. Alright. It's a good draw. Nice magic card. Nice magic card. Gosh, I hope we kill them with this Delver and they never cast another spell. It's just some good, clean deck building right there. This is like the Saffron Olive school of deck building, right? Your deck's just like full of unplayable cards. You just like shove a Blood Moon in and cross your fingers. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Saffron Olive makes great content and is a very great and engaging content, but that's the truth. Yeah, I think he realizes he does it too. He's a realist. All right, I got one Schwamp. I'm gonna keep the op for next turn because it lets me dig deeper. Swamp, Bolt, and Snapcaster Mage were all lethal there. It's unfortunate. Had a lot of live draws. I'm not bolting this because they're dead next turn if they don't have anything else here. Nice Blood Moon. Also, that turd, the person I just timed out there, the dude, let's call them a poopy face, because that's what Declan calls people. They're a poopy face. The poopy face I just permanently banned from the channel. They were complaining about what I just said about Seth, which was a joke, and it's one that he embraces and is true. Come on now. Come on now. They were upset, and they were flinging poop about it. Daddy needs a new boot, Isaac. Thank you for re-upping at the tier 2 level for the 3rd month in a row. I really appreciate that. My tier 2 subs support me a little extra so they get a little something back in return. Be sure to drop me a message in private and let me know which deck you'd like to bump in the queue this month for that. Thank you. I like this deck too. So we're 3-0 in this league, but our opponent disconnected and timed out in the first match where we're likely going to lose. So we would be 2-1 in matches played. Hex TCG is done with Hex TCG. Hex is basically dead and gone. The only thing that's not dead about Hex is the servers. And at some point those will also turn off. Yeah, Hex was, they had... If Hex had been made by a company with more money and backing, they probably would have been very successful. Their gameplay was really good. It's had a lot of funding and probably some management issues too. Where's the thermometer? I've got a fever and the only solution is more memes. We're fully funded, Brecken. We're fully funded. Yeah. WotC suing them took a lot of stuff out of their sales. Definitely a big part of why they failed. I deserved that from my lost time on Moto. I don't know that anybody ever deserves anything. WotC sued them because their game had a lot of parallels. Hex TCG, Hex Shards of Fate. Their game had a lot of parallels to Magic. Yeah, WotC sued Hex very early on. There's a saying in the technology world, if you can't innovate, litigate. Bigger companies that have lots of money and lawyers on fund, they sue smaller people all the time. Because even if they wouldn't be able to win a lawsuit in court, a lot of times smaller companies can't afford to go to court and defend themselves because, like, they barely have enough startup money to, like, make their product, right? So, like, a lot of those smaller companies have to settle out of court just so they can make their thing. I would be very surprised if WotC sued Direwolf just because Direwolf Digital is basically, if you look at the people who are employed by Direwolf Digital and make Eternal, it's basically just like the Magic Hall of Fame and Platinum and Gold Pro players. Like they basically employ all the Magic professionals. Like almost all of Channel Fireball works there. Well, my 4-land 2-spell hand was hoping to find some good ones. Thankfully, like, they don't have too many payoffs here yet, so we could potentially have a chance here still. I'm not actually sure what LSV's position there is offhand, but I know he does work for Direwolf. Like, LSV and Matt Nass. Corey Burkhardt actually just moved there. Corey actually used to work on Hex, and then he moved to work for Eternal Direwolf when Hex started dying. Conley Woods works there. Yep. Chapin. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them there. Patrick Sullivan. Sullivan's not a Channel Fireball guy though, but yeah, they employ a lot of Magic players, which is probably a big part of the reason why Eternal is basically Magic Light. I'm holding on to that for a hot second. I would like to pair this with a second piece of removal. All right, I'm just going to move along with our lives here. Direwolf Digital is the company that makes Eternal card game and tests Legends, and they also program the client for the Pokemon TCG. So that's also their work. They are a game studio out of Denver. All right, so what am I doing here? 1/3 of a year, dumb a big main with the 4-month resub there. Thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this way again this month. I appreciate that. Is it crazy? Is it crazy to cut Young Pyromancer here and just become Grixis control? What do we think of cut 3 Pyro, cut 3 Opt? Pyromancer just costs so much mana and it doesn't block. And like flipped Delver trades with a lot of their blockers. Like most of the affinity creatures don't attack on the ground. Stream baby here. This is Nilla. Thank you for the 9-month free subscription. I appreciate that. Welcome. I'd actually argue, Astox, you're probably extremely biased. As someone who's played both and currently plays neither, like Eternal's lack of champions or anything like that makes the gameplay absurdly close to Magic the Gathering. As someone who's logged time in both and doesn't have anything invested in either, Eternal is arguably closer to Magic than that. Eternal's like Fisher-Price fast Magic, basically. It's like if you took Magic and you stripped away a bunch of things to make it play in like 5 to 10 minute games, basically. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a neat game. Like there's nothing wrong with liking Eternal as a game. The gameplay is neat. I've played it. But it's to imply it's anything more than fast Magic seems silly to me. I guess they have armor and weapons on things, but that's just like a different health total. This is actually a good example of why... Yeah, and the armor and weapons, they are very similar to Hearthstone. This is a good example of why Tassifish can be better than Gurmag Angler in some situations, because with Gurmag Angler, I can't go Spirebluff, Thought Scour, Fetchland fish, but I can go Spirebluff, Delta fish. Would you ever bring an Alpine Moon for Nexus? No, I'm not really a fan of that, I don't think. This is interesting. So do I want to hold up Ceremonious Rejection this turn? I kind of do, honestly. I think I'm going to wait a hot second on this Tasigur and hold up like Push Rejection this turn. Wow, we just got punished. That is brutal. Hex had a pile of digital-only mechanics. Again, Hex and Eternal are both absurdly close to Magic. Only Eternal took stuff from Magic and got rid of it, and Hex added a bunch of more extra stuff to Magic. But they're both very clearly inspired by Magic the Gathering. Opponent correctly identifies that we only have one threat, and that's what they want to take here. Yeah, that's actually a good catch. The OP has a swamp in their deck. That's interesting. I wonder if they're on like Thought Seizes in the main. I kind of like seeing some innovation in a more traditional Affinity shell, because Affinity is definitely a deck that's like struggled recently. So like trying to like branch out and try different things makes a lot of sense to me. Like, why keep trying the same stuff if it's obviously not working? Unfortunately, our Thought Scour flipped over 2 spells and then drew us lands, but sometimes you don't have spells. Someone earlier commented on playing Faithless Looting instead of Opt, and people are just so caught up in the few games where you flood out where Faithless Looting would be good that they fail to recognize that there's going to be a number of games where the card disadvantage from Faithless Looting just really puts you behind. Thanks for re-up and Alex. I'm gonna get Spell Pierced here, aren't I? Jedi Jeff with the 9-month resub there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Well, I have enough lands at this point that I'm going to do this and drain them because, you know, low variance game and all that. We did hit the goal for the Invitational, so I'll be attending that. I guess I should have played this, but if they had a Spell Pierce, they would have Spell Pierced my Rejection. I guess they potentially don't have a lot going on either. Like a Snapcaster Mage at any point really gets us back in the game. Or a Kolaghan's Command. Yep. So Snap, K-Command, Abrade, all excellent draws here. Cantrips into most of those cards, also acceptable. Ding. Yeah, no idea. No idea. There's, God, fuck this interface. Pick you up, destroy you. Alright, so you want to delve as many cards that you don't want to get back as possible. So I actually have 5 non-Kolaghan's Command spells in here, so let's delve those. I think K-Command is good. If so, why? Thank you for the 27 months there, Rogue. I appreciate it. That's true. If this game had Fate Weave, it would just be absurd. Well, that's a kick in the dick. That is, yep. That's, oh. Look, chat, there is one Dismember in our deck for a reason, okay? We put the one Dismember in our deck so we could draw it. Alright, here's the question. Do I activate Tasigur before I play Dismember? I'm probably supposed to activate Tasigur first, right? Like, they're out of cards. Like, we just drew the one of Dismember, so we're gonna, like, flip 2 lands over here and get a Kolaghan's Command back. Those are all pretty good. Rejection, push, or K-Command, so we're gonna get a pushback here. And this little piggy went wee, 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 all the way home. Kick her back. Get him. I almost was like, we're stone cold to that. And then as I was about to say, well, we have one Dismember, we drew it. And it was just wonderful. Just truly, truly wonderful. Tassifish, doo-doo-doo-doo. Bring it. Do 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 do. What's going on, Fedge? Ooh, a piece of candy. If they chump block here, we get to kill their Glimmer Void. What's going on, No Life? Do we have a murder? I don't think I ever had... Oh, you mean you had a Murderous Cut in your deck? I'm pretty sure the Dismember's on the list on my site. It's been a while. Oh, you copied it and it had one? Okay, yeah, Murderous Cut seems really bad. Like, you just already have so many Delve cards. I'm definitely pushing the Vault Scourge off a cliff here. Don't want them gaining health. And then they're forced. The lightning bolt means they're forced to block next turn, which is great for us. Push shouldn't be able to kill flyers. It is a flavor miss, to be fair. Push. The worst card in our discard pile is Dismember, so they're dead. I guess they can give us Rejection to not be dead, but they're still like dead long term that way because it cuts all their outs. They took my Clipper badge away. It is nice not having discard spells when you're activating Tasigur. You're not wrong. Tasigur is definitely much better in this deck than in something like Grixis Shadow, or just like hand you back Thought Seizes and Inquisitions and you hate yourself. You know, I don't know that we're gonna get to. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get to another deck today. It's already 2 o'clock. We've got one more game here, and then I have another one. I don't wanna have to cut Revolt Zoo super short. No Life, thank you for the 2-month resub there. I love seeing you run the deck back and love the changes you made. Do it was your speed. Thank you for the support. Yeah, I think moving away from more of the counter magic in the main is ideal. How long did it take you to learn how to sideboard with new decks? It depends on the style of deck too, because like when you're playing with decks that are like interactive mid-range decks, sideboarding is a fluid process that's similar from deck to deck, whereas like more niche combo decks tend to take a lot longer to learn. Okay, yep. 3 Doomblades and a Delver. 3 Doomblades and a Delver walk into a bar. That's true. Maybe if we're done by like, let's say 2:20, we can get four-ish games in 20 minutes. We'll see. We'll see. We're gonna give it. We're gonna Esper Control mainly for fun. Ninja Mouse, can you join the subs Discord or message me in private? I'd be happy to take a look at your deck later. I just don't look at decks while I'm streaming because there's just too much going on. There could be an argument for playing the Delver here, but again, I think we're the control deck in this matchup for sure, so I just want to like play my spells out to interact with their board as quickly as possible. We are currently in Game 3, Match 4, Optic. This is Game 3, Marty. We died Game 1, remember? I'm gonna fetch Steam Vents here since I have all these Thought Scours. I'm gonna go ahead and bolt this. I just want to like use my mana every turn, even if it does cost me a little bit of health. Is Grixis Delver better than Grixis Death Shadow? I don't know that I have any good measurements to like say it's objectively better or worse, but in my subjective playstyle preference, I prefer the Delver deck because I like not having to hammer my health total while playing. I also like how Young Pyromancer gives you a lot of game against decks that tend to go wide, whereas Grixis Death Shadow can often tend to struggle against go wide decks because it only has a few threats. Thanks, Lurgoyf. Sure, it's just not particularly common. And again, I just don't like Modern's such an aggressive format that the balancing act that you have to do with your health total feels really undesirable to me on average. Yeah, the fact that Dismember also beats Welding Jar is nice. I'm actually going to kind of prioritize holding this Dismember for a little bit, though, because I know they're playing Dog Mom. And, like, I'd prefer... Yeah, Monday's going to be Vintage and Legacy decks, I think. That also doesn't care about your Welding Jar. So I'm going to put a stop on my upkeep, because if this Delver shows me a card I don't want to draw, we're going to Thought Scour it away. Like a land, for instance. I would love to reveal and draw that one, though. That one is all mine. These are a few of my favorite things. Do 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 do. Do we think this matchup is good? There's a chance this matchup is good, chat. Non-zero's a scooch of a chance this matchup might be okay for us. Oh no! Oh no! We've flown too close to the sun. We're super dead. I deserve this. Rejection, please. Rejection, please. This is their card that's great against us. It's just like this card paired with this is it's rough. It's rough. All right, we bend in a braid. And I really can't. Yeah, True Name Nemesis is a really good card. That is the wrong counterspell. I asked for a counterspell and I got the wrong one. Yeah, we have to race at this point, which is pretty difficult to do. Yeah, if we draw another K command, Snapcaster Mage is also a potential live draw. Don't celebrate just yet. They have shown us they have Thoughtseize in their deck. I'm waiting on the K command here, because if they fire up Blinkmoth Nexus, I'm going to go shatter this, shock the Nexus. There's also an argument to doing it in response to the first spell they cast, because I would like to potentially discard a card out of their hand. I guess I could also shock them too. Just shocking them's probably okay. That puts them to 9. I'm giving them a chance to animate this, because animating this lets us do an extra damage. Sure, but I have another Kolaghan's command right here, Blue Newbie, so next turn I'm going to get to kill the the Cranial Plating. And getting them to discard the Welding Jar means that they'll have one less artifact in place, so we'll take one less damage. So, like, obviously the Plating's not dying this turn, but it will die next turn, hopefully. That is brutal. Yeah, do we just shatter discard now? Like plays around most things, right? Oh, jeez. Yeah, unfortunately, we're just losing the race at the moment, though. Like, we hit them to 6, they hit us to 2, they kill us. So I, like, need to draw a Bolt or a Snapcaster Mage here to win the game. Got 4 Snaps and 2 Bolts in my deck. Yeah. Is Brutality good enough? Brutality would put me to 4. Yeah, so Brutality is a reason to not crack my fetch land. Gosh, that was so close. It's really unfortunate. Needed to either not have Galvanic Blast or not have... Needed one more hit point. I wonder if Fetch Shocking on turn 1 was wrong. I could see Fetch Shocking on turn 1 having been wrong. It's interesting. Yeah, it's tough. And actually, so this is kind of a great example of one of the reasons why. So if I block their Blink Moth, Alex, I'm just dead in as many turns. I have 0 ways to take, I have 1 way, sorry. And it takes 2 turns because I'm on 3 lands. So like if I just like pause there and like hold my guy back, they still kill me in 3 turns and I still need to draw a Lightning Bolt or a Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, I guess it would give us another draw step, but it also gives them another draw step too. So like they get like Galvanic Blast and stuff like that as well. Also, if they just like draw Blink Moth Nexus, like that whole plan goes to crap. Seems okay. Probably supposed to fetch shock here. I might be a little tilted from taking exactly too much damage. Hardened Scales. Alright, well, we lost a regular affinity. Let's see how we do here. Sounds about right. Yeah, playing that matchup and like losing to a champion there like really makes me just want to play like blue-red tempo. It's like, here's my beautiful, let's kill you. Man, this league's actually been longer than a lot of than the blue-white leagues were. This is approaching 2 hours here. That is interesting sequencing on your Welding Jar opponent. Modern's just not a play Strafen where you can afford to play cards as narrow as Fracturing Gust. Fracturing Gust is just an absurdly narrow card. Like, these decks, you can beat these decks if you want. Like, if you really hate losing to these decks, like, obviously, like, jam all the Fracturing Gusts and, like, go nuts. But, like, I think you're going to lose more games not having enough proper sideboard cards than you will win from having super narrow cards like that. Yeah, I think this is actually going to be my last league of the day. I've been going for 6 hours already. We'll put Zoo in the queue, and it'll probably come up tomorrow or the day after. Tomorrow's Friday. Yep. I didn't keep Bolt in the Grave because I was obligated to delve 4 cards. Well, I mean, if you're gonna twist my arm, I guess I'll reveal that one. Nope. Nope, yeah, I delved all 4 cards. Yeah, I just feel like all the matches where Gutshot should be good should already be good matches for you, No Life. I'm gonna go ahead and terminate this in response to Hangerback Walker. Just, like, really don't want them putting a bunch of counters on it. I think I agree with Cedric Phillips that Militia Bugler's a trap in humans. Then it probably just makes your matchups that are already okay better. Okay. Deal? Why would they bin... Why would they bin... Oh, they have another one. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That's actually kind of sweet, because it, gets around Welding Jar. I think I'm gonna draw step, shatter this, shock them. But then they just get to modular counters over. Yeah, I guess I'm not draw stepping anything. Don't really have great options here. Yeah, they sacked the Welding Jar for counters. I really just don't have a good line here. All right, so the line here is... Destroy this, shock you. And then we chump block whatever they move counters onto, and then we hope to draw a Bolt or a Snapcaster. So they'll move the counters over here, which forces the Delver to chump block one of these. Yeah, I'm aware they have the gain lifeland. That's why I shocked them. So they're at a virtual 9. This puts them to 7, which means Snapcaster Mage to shock them again, or Lightning Bolt is lethal here. Collective Brutality, also lethal. How do I die, Ocean? Please explain. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying now. Thank you. See, I need the specifics, so I wasn't thinking about that offhand. You are correct that they could have killed me and they messed up. God bless. Justice! Survey says. Yeah, so you're right. I messed up, they punted back, and then we drew out. So I messed up, they messed up back, and they died. Alright, all Doomblades on deck. Pyromancer is actually a good bit better in this matchup than it is against traditional Affinity because there's more things that we can actually block. I should have blocked their 7/7 with my Delver because with the line I took, my opponent could have regenerated the 7/7. And then my Delver blocks one of the flyers, and then whichever flyer I didn't block, they then sacrifice their 7/7 with the Phyrexian Core and move the counters onto the unblocked flyer. And I didn't see that in the moment. And then they didn't see the line to wait to do that either. So what I should have done is I should have just blocked their 7/7 holding up the Kolaghan's command, because then if they went to move counters, and then I take 2, and then if they went to move counters, I'd kill the one that they're moving counters to in response. And they could regenerate it, but regenerating removes it from combat. Alright, I think I'm going to trim the Delvers and like 2 ops here. No, I actually brought in Liliana against them. I don't know what that is, Num. Also, keep in mind that the queue is still slowed until we get below 40 decks. Gosh, this is such an excellent Hearthstone hand. It's like, all your hands that are 7 spells look great, right? This hand's not amazing, but it's definitely a keep on 6. I would love a Snapcaster Mage. Alpine Moon is in the sideboard for Tron and Valakut. How many decks are in the queue right now? There are 64 decks in the queue right now. I'll be deleting 3 out of there after today. So it'll be like 62 decks in the queue. When we slowed the queue 17 days ago, there were 90 decks in the queue. So in 17 days, we've reduced the queue by 26 decks. So probably another 2 weeks or so before I'm taking $10 donation decks again. Keep in mind that both tier 3 subs and $50+ donations are allowed to add decks while the queue is slowed. Because, well, I like money. Is this matchup good? I actually don't know the answer to that question. I think we have the tools to be successful here, but I also think the opponent's deck is just like very good and explosive. And has the potential to get us. I think I'm supposed to hold up Spell Snare here, huh? Like most of their payoffs are 2. I'm doing well, Gurns. Longest, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch. Thanks for supporting mine right now. Yeah, Snare and Rejection are both very good in this matchup. I submit Exhibit A. I'll fetch a basic island here. Preserve our health total a little bit. Yep, yeah, 50 plus dollar donations are submitted with however much they're submitted with, plus a 20% bonus for being a large donation. So a $50 donation goes into the queue with 60 points, as always. Because while I don't want the queue to balloon to infinity, which is why I slow it down every once in a while, I do like money, so big donation, still welcome and encouraged. Oh, we're gonna get walking ballisted and hate ourselves. We played against spirits in one of our previous leagues and it felt pretty reasonable. We have a lot of ways to kill their stuff. I don't know that we've played against humans. I don't think we've played against humans yet. I think I just snap bolt this walking ballista now. The problem here is that, like, we're running out of resources, and my opponent, like, still has double Ink Moth, plus a draw on the bank with the Horizon Canopy. The fact that, like, the opponent's deck, the lands have so much utility is one of the things that makes it so powerful. We played the Hardened Scales Affinity deck on stream a few times. It just, like, seems excellent every time. I guess I could... SCGCon is 2.5 months away, and there's a ban list update and a new set being released before then, so no, I have no idea what I'm playing there. So, I guess I am just going to play Tasigur here. I was going to say it's a little bit awkward because it doesn't leave me cards in my bin for Gurmag, but I can actually activate Tasigur to, like, fill my graveyard back up. I like using my last land here. I think you should bring whatever deck you like playing. That sounds just like normal Modern Tournament. Yep, the invitational goal was hit. Are we evolutionary leaping? Yep, seems good. So we're gonna be dead in like 3 to this. Hit another Arcbound Workers. We're actually dead next turn. Good stuff. Yeah, exactly. Snowy Field. I agree with those assessments. There's a reason why the opponent's deck, the Hardened Scales deck, has kind of outshone Affinity in recent memory. It's a better Infect deck than Infect. I'm going to concede here because they're like almost certainly just going to go for it. They get to play this, activate this, sacrifice this to Evolutionary Leap, and then put lethal counters on here. Yeah, Evolutionary Leap is awesome in their deck, especially with Hanger Backwalker. Thanks everyone for hanging out today. We've almost 1,000 people for a lot of the afternoon. It's really awesome. This is going to be my last game. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah, I'll keep this. Modern's just a format that's very slow to adapt changed alcohol. So, like, the Hardened, relatively speaking to, like, how long a lot of things have existed in Modern, like, the Hardened Scales deck is still very new. Huh. I I'm gonna play Young Pyromancer here. Just get value off all these spells I'm about to cast. When's the next ban list update? I actually don't know offhand. It's sometime in or around when the guild's releases, right? Or is it 6 weeks after? Is it October 1st-ish? I'm gonna go ahead and opt here, hopefully find a land, and then Collective Brutality this. If we miss on the land, we'll bolt it, obviously. Yeah, I think I want to hold the Fatal Push for later, because they have creatures that get pretty large. Oh, I'm so dumb. They have a thing. I'll offer this trade. Guess I should have just pushed it. Sorry, I've been going for 6 hours today, and we've played three blue control decks in a row. I'm off point. Yeah, if they unban Stoneforge, we'll probably have a week of playing all Stoneforge Mystic decks. Yeah, I don't know. Their deck operates on such thin margins that, like, stone raining them is pretty marginal. Do I die if I don't block here? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No blocks. I have no idea, Zowzy. I've never touched an Nectar Mattress. I guess I have to be aggressive here. I just push this and smack them for 4. Just like hope to get my chump blocks on here. We're 3-1 in this league. We actually lost a really close match to Traditional Affinity in the last one. Darn Etch Champion got us. A Nectar Mattress sounds sticky. Here. Ink Moth Nexus is really good. Doo-da, doo-da. Ink Moth Nexus is really good. Oh, the doo-da day. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Yep. Honey sponsorship ran out. I think we're dead, chat. That's a disappointing end. YouTube. So the YouTube advertisements, unlike the advertisements that are directly below me, which are things that I use, the ads on my YouTube videos are just generic Google targeted ads, like on pretty much every YouTube video, Zowzy. Those aren't something that I have a hand in or test products on. You should be aware of that. So like the banners down below my stream here and on my various pages, they are services that I use or I'm familiar with, and I know they're reasonable products. Random targeted YouTube ads are ones that anybody can pay money for. I don't know that I have anything good and constructive to say here. I felt like that was really kind of disappointing league. We finished 3-2, but the first match our opponent timed out and they probably would have beat us. I don't know. I really felt like in those last two matches against the Affinity decks, it's just like our cards weren't efficient enough, right? Like our decks, like these Kolaghan's commands and cards like it, and like these Young Pyromancers are like, and Snapcaster Mages are like really powerful magic cards, but like those decks are just so aggressive that we just like didn't have time to like use all of them. And like the Tasigur and Gurmag Angler are like good against other big creature decks. Against these other decks that like went wide or flew over us, they were just kind of these awkward threats that like weren't closing out the game quick enough. Play some Teamer. We have a really great system here. I will play whatever deck you want me to play, and you can learn how by clicking on the submit deck link. If I could spell. That link tells you there. This stream, unlike many streams, is all viewer driven. Everything that the people want to see gets played here eventually. What will I play in Guild Standard? I have no idea. I haven't sat down and looked at everything in Standard yet. I am not playing Standard on my team at the Columbus Open, so I will probably leave that up to CVM and Kent to work on a Standard deck, and then once we have results from the first Open, I'll probably work on stuff a little bit more. We had a couple of donations to work on green-black decks, so we're going to do that leading into the Open weekend, but I don't know that I'm going to brew too much past that. No, I don't think so. I think if you want a sweeper in the board of this deck, you should just like play a different deck. This is our Young Pyromancer Delver of Secrets deck is like not a deck that's interested in playing sweepers. Yeah, honestly, like I guess that's a good wrap up here. I'm kind of rambling. That was like a 2.5 hour league, and we had two 2-hour leagues before that, so I'm kind of zonked. The more I play this, the less I become certain that the black cards are worth it. I kind of just want to like be playing the blue-red burn deck, the blue-red tempo Delver deck. There were so many matches in that league where just like, or games that came down to like, all right, can we draw a Bolt? Can we draw a Burn Spell? Can we draw Snapcaster Mage? And like, just having more bolts in my deck to draw to feels appealing. So I don't know that I'm going to be interested in playing this deck again after this one. Obviously, like if someone donates for it, it's probably fine to put back in the queue. But like, this was a deck that I was considering putting on my list to test more for like the Invitational. And I think after that league, I'm going to cross this off as just like being a little bit worse than blue-red tempo. Zhao Z, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. That's going to be it for me for today, folks. I'm going to find someone to host really quick. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with more Modern. Not quite sure what we're playing yet. Got to total up all the donations.